I've done a lot of video content about this idea of ontological design. Now, ontology has to do with beingness. It goes directly to the notion of our interiority, our subjectivity. And so ontological design has to do with how do we shape our interior perspective on the world, right? Like how do we gain some kind of stewardship of our internal life through design? In other words, like, can this sofa change how I see the world? Can the clothing that I wear transform my perspectives on reality? And it turns out that, yeah, it very much can. Like, we are extremely mediated by design cues. You put a uniform on somebody and their political views will change just like that. So that, design is not passive, design is active. Moods and behaviors can be scripted into design. And there was this wonderful article in New York Magazine called The Psychological Impact of Boring Buildings. And it was talking about how the design of buildings can precipitate anxiety and depression, that architecture can shape moods. And we all know that a beautiful cathedral can awaken feelings of awe and reverence. We all know that an impressive structure can inspire us, but dreary office environments can actually do the opposite. And they were saying that that's why European cities tend to be more palatable to people who are walking. They're built for human scale. They're built for walking densities, right? And what usually keeps us happy is as we walk, every 10 seconds, according to the article, we should be looking at something different. Now, in a European city, as you stroll at a walker's pace, every 10 seconds, you're gonna see something different. But in a typical American city, maybe like Los Angeles, things are gonna look the same every 10 seconds. Certainly, when you have these like strip mall kind of developments in a lot of America where everything is uniform and everything is the same. And that's just not inspiring to us. That's not the kind of novelty that makes us neurochemically the most happy. And so basically, we're being designed to feel a certain way, sometimes without even realizing it. And so, yes, growing up in Venezuela, there's a particular sensibility and a sensitivity to how to see the world because of that culture, because of how that culture is organized. And certainly being in the States is different. And I spent a lot of time in Europe precisely because I'm interested in the lenses through which they see the world and in the design cues that also shape those lenses. The architecture, the culture, the way that people relate to one another, the interpersonal style, all those things matter. But it's in understanding the crucial role that design plays that we can realize our own agency in this process, the way we shape ourselves. What we design designs us back. So to become aware of how our creative and linguistic choices govern our fate is ultimately very empowering. Even the words we use to describe our experience shapes that experience. Language isn't just descriptive, language is generative. So we can disclose new worlds for ourselves even with the power of our words, which is very powerful. And so, yeah, my interest in this, I guess, it has to do with my own desire to empower ourselves to design better selves for ourselves. That's important. David Lenston used to say that consciousness is a collaboration between subject and object. We think of consciousness, we think of ourselves as autonomous and self-contained, but we're not. We are what emerges in the feedback loops between brains, tools, and environments, right? And so, if language is a collaboration between the subject and the object, it says it reveals a garden of forking paths because it's person multiplied by place, design, context, etc., multiplied by time. That's what consciousness is, which reveals then a garden of forking paths of possible consciousnesses, of possible versions of what it is to be a person that reflects upon the world. And so getting a grip on how to play with that just is incredibly exciting and empowering.